Hey there, everybody. Petty Officer Glover here with Nuking It Out. Here today with Lieutenant Roberts, my very special interview guest. How you doing today, Lieutenant Roberts?
What's going on, man? How you doing, EMN1? Thanks for having me on your platform today.
Thank you for coming on. And the reason I wanted to bring Lieutenant Roberts on today is that she is what's in the Navy called a limited duty officer. And this is a special type of officer with a couple of different perks and a couple of different pathways. So Lieutenant Roberts, to get going, why don't you tell everybody where you came from, like what got you, where were you at before you joined the Navy?
Hey, so I'm from Dallas, Texas. Came right out of high school, actually, 18, my senior year. I kind of knew I was going to enroll in the Navy, so came right out of high school there in Dallas, Texas, and been in since, man. Been on this good race, this good run.
So you came into the Navy on the enlisted side. What was your job?
I was a GSM. I came in E1 GSM FA and worked myself up through the ranks. So came in as a gas turbine. For those who don't know, it's a gas turbine systems mechanic. Still in the engineering, even though I'm an engineering officer, so kind of stayed with my roots, but came in on the GS side.
So you went to boot camp, obviously. You went to A school, which is in Great Lakes, Illinois. And then where did you go from there? What was your first couple of years in the Navy like?
First couple of years, I wanted to go to overseas because, where I came from, we didn't even, a lot of people didn't make it out the state, So I wanted to go overseas. So I spent my first 6 years in Japan. Those were my most challenging years because I went on a 3-year limb due, kind of got a bad surgery that was done, and it put me down. They tried to medically discharge me, and I kind of fought it because I knew, this was what I wanted to do. So kind of just was in the gym and running and really trying to recover from the ankle surgery I had. So I did a year and a half or so on my first ship, went limb due for 3 years, battled through that, and then came back out to a ship there in Japan. So I did a total of 6 years out there before I came to the States.
So how was that being a girl from Texas in Japan? You were stationed in Yokosuka or Sasebo?
Yokosuka, man, it was different. It was like something I never seen. I remember going to the airport. I was in uniform, which I shouldn't have been, but I was in uniform, and I was just like, I'm really in Japan, 18 years old, not knowing left or right. I was so excited. I was in awe. Everything I did, different language. This is stuff we see on TV or read in the history books, man.
So you got done with your time in Japan. What was your where did you go from there?
Well, from there, so like I said, I started out E1, I kind of made E6 in transition. I went to a C school back at Great Lakes, and then I went to California, so I ended up on the West Coast. And then I was on a CG, I was on a Princeton for 3 years, about 3 years total. So that's where I put in a lot of work there as a first class. My goal was to always put on khakis before 10 years. I was like, listen, if I don't put on khakis before 10 years, this may not be for me, but I don't want to spend my entire career chasing an eval or politics, or I just didn't want to do it. So I ran a lot, got Sailor of the Year, Sailor for the strike group. So kind of went through that path, and that's when I put in my commissioning package for the LDO program. I thought I needed a degree, but the limited duty officer program, you don't. It's all about your package. It's all about what you produce and what you do and how you lead. So I saw that you needed 8 years. So by the time I put in my package, I was like 7.5, but by the time the board convened, I was at 8. And then I picked up my first time putting that package in.
So you kind of briefly touched on it as far as the LDO package and how it's different because you don't need a bachelor's degree. Why don't you explain to everybody, why does the Navy have limited duty officers in the first place? Why don't we just use regular commissioned officers for everything?
Limited duty officers come with a different expertise, and that's coming from the enlisted side. So you have your limited duty officers and your chief warrant officers. When you see an LDO or a chief warrant officer, which we are the Mustangs, then you know that they have prior enlisted experience, which a lot of the 1110s or the SWOs do not have it. You have some state 21s that have the enlisted background, but some of them don't have the longevity, right? So you know that an LDO or warrant been in probably at least 8 to 14 years, so they have that experience, and that's what we bring to the boardroom, is that prior enlisted experience, being able to relate to the sailors, and then bringing those ideas and bringing those understandings into the wardroom. And so we are considered the SMEs. We help these SWOs. We help the captain and the XO and the CFC. We help them kind of, we're that middleman in between wardroom and the enlisted pretty much.
So, are there any real differences between being a limited duty officer and being a conventional commissioned officer? Is there any difference in pay? Any difference in what you get as far as your pay and benefits?
Well, yeah, so I know I'm a lieutenant junior grade, so you come in as 01 just like them, but you hit that 01 to 03, we got an E on there, which lets them know I'm prior enlisted. So 01, 02, 03, we get paid a little bit more than a SWO or conventional commissioned officer based on our prior experience. So we get paid a little bit more, but then once you hit 04 and up, then that's when we kind of join the ranks of the regular commissioned officers, and we get paid the same. But far as is it the same, the mentality, the path, all those are different. But when you're in uniform, nobody knows how you came in until you start talking, until you start maneuvering. The way that you carry yourself, tell somebody if you were prior enlisted or if you went through the academy or OCS or State 21, they kind of can tell like who came from where.
Well, yeah, because you got that natural swagger from somebody who's been in the engine room for 10 years, knowing what they're talking about.
Go, baby. Yeah, it's like let's get it done. We don't have time for all the other stuff. Let's go put in some work.
So, describe kind of the path that they sent you through when you so you got selected for LDO, so it's a board. For those of you who don't know what it is, when you go to get commissioned, when you go to make chief, they do what's called a board, where it's a group of people who are already who are at that rank, at that position, and they turn around and they look over what's called a package, which is basically your documentation of what you've done in your career. So I know, Lieutenant Roberts, you talked about being Sailor of the Year, which is just, I mean, that's huge for anybody. And then to be a Strike Sailor of the Year, a Strike Command Sailor of the Year is even more impressive, because not only are you considered the best first class on your ship, you're considered the best first class of, what would that be, like 5-10 ships, I think?
Yeah, it's about, yep. It's a whole strike group. Yep. So you go into a room with other Sailor of the Years. It's an amazing feeling. It's really cool. It's one of the best experiences outside of my commissioning actual ceremony that I experienced, is being in a room with a whole bunch of, trendsetters and people that are out and really aiming to lead it and make their changes and make their marks in the Navy, in the military period, just legacy makers, So it was, submit the package. The big thing that everybody, you kind of gotta work through is when you do get selected, from the time you put in your package to the time you get selected, it's like a 2-year wait. Because it's like you put in your package, you find it out the next year, and then it takes probably about another year for you to actually commission and put on. So it's really that longevity, perseverance, and you waiting your turn. It really teaches you patience.
So what was the actual process when they finally, you got selected for it, and then where did they send you to actually get your commissioning?
So you actually commission wherever command you're at. You do your commissioning ceremony there. So I found out in March. I didn't commission until that following March, and then I had my ceremony, and then you go right to Rhode Island. You go to what we call knife and fork school, kind of teach you. They try to shock you in a sense, like get out of that enlisted mindset. Now you're an officer, so let me put you around a whole bunch of officers so you're used to the lingo and being comfortable in the wardroom. But it's still an adjustment. You can't just change overnight, but it's an adjustment. So you go do that. If you have a specialty, DCA, Chang, MPA, some schools, they'll send you to, most of all of our schools are in Rhode Island, and then you go right to your command. So I went right from Rhode Island. I was GSM-1 one day in March, April, commissioned, went to school in May. I was ensign, MPA on board another ship here in Washington. And so I just went from ensign to lieutenant junior grade, which is a 2-year, from 01 to 03 is automatic, kind of 04 in a sense, kind of 80% when you're on the LDO warrant side. So it's automatic promotion every 2 years up until you hit lieutenant, then you hit your 5-year gaps.
So what kind of command, what changed as far as your job description once you got to your ship now as Ensign Roberts?
Ensign Roberts, I went from leading a division to leading a department. So you go from a division of 20 to 30 people to now a department of like 80. You know, different personalities, different spectrum. Now you're expected to know. You're just expected to do. You're expected to understand. You don't really have that like, oh, well, I don't know that. You don't really have that leverage when you come over into the officer side. It's like you're an officer, hold yourself to the officer standard, and there is no I don't know. It's just if you don't know, you got to figure it out or find somebody who knows. You know.
Gotcha. So, what's your career path from here on going to look like?
So I'm trying to go to an amphib next. Right now, I'm on a DDG, which is a smaller ship. I plan on going to a amphib or a bigger size ship so I can experience something different. I've been on 4 different small boys with gas turbine ships, so I want to experience something different. But the plan for the LDO world is literally to be a captain, a 06 chain chief engineer. So pretty much a 06, a captain that leads the engineering department on a steam or a big deck. So like I said, I hit 12 this June. I plan to do 20. My 10-year obligation, when you commit to the LDO program, it's a 10-year obligation. It puts me at 19, but of course I'm gonna hit that extra year, retire right at 20. I'll be 38 years old, most likely be a full lieutenant commander, or if not already lieutenant commander, and then I'll probably hang it up. Or, you know, if something changes or goes differently, I'll keep trucking.
That's awesome. So that's great. So last part of this, always my favorite part, the lightning round. I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions at you. Just tell me your answer without thinking too much about it, okay?
Got you. Let's go.
All right. Favorite port call?
Abu Dhabi.
Ooh. Most accurate most accurate Navy movie?
The one, what's his name? With Cuban Gooding in it.
Oh, Men of Honor.
Men of Honor. Yeah, that's my movie.
Nice. Favorite song?
Favorite song is Imagine. It's called Imagine Me by Kirk Franklin.
Favorite meal on board the ship?
Jeez, Burger Day. Wednesday. Everybody loves Wednesdays.
First thing you do when you get home from deployment?
Sleep in a comfortable bed.
Your secret talent?
A motivational speaker.
Really? I always see you posting stuff. I guess I should have known that already.
Yeah, motivational speaker.
Favorite underway snack?
Skittles.
Love me some Skittles too.
Yeah, hot fries. Anything the store have when the mess line is not doing what it's doing.
Worst gift you ever got?
Chocolate. I don't like chocolate. It's crazy. I don't. People, you know how people like they try to be nice and they get you a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't need chocolate, man.
Thing you can't go on the ship without?
Music.
Favorite way to pass the time underway?
Writing.
What kind of stuff do you write?
I just finished I'm writing my 3rd book, but I did, my first book was a book of poetry called What's the Word Worth? My 2nd book that I did last year is called Just Unwrap It, and it's talking about the gifts that we have within us that we haven't unwrapped it yet. We're all a gift, but a lot of us don't see it because we haven't unwrapped it to understand the value in it.
Awesome. Guilty pleasure movie?
Guilty pleasure movie. I don't know. I'm not a movie person. I don't watch TV.
All right. And last question. What would you tell 18-year-old you?
I would tell 18-year-old me to financial wisdom, learn what to do with your finances early. I think that's one thing that the military may not always, we have the classes and the courses, but financial literacy is not something we teach our sailors. So it kind of your first 2 or 3 years, you spend a lot of time wasting money instead of doing what you could possibly be doing with all that money. So financial literacy, I would teach myself like what to do with your finances.
Great. Well, thank you again, Lieutenant Roberts, for sitting down with me.
Of course.
Um, as always, if you have questions about this or anything else, please contact your local Navy recruiter. And as always, follow me on Instagram at EMN1_Glover. And in the comment section, let me know, who do you want me to talk to? What do you want to know about the Navy? Until next time, this has been EMN Glover with Nuking It Out.